Hello, I'm Professor McCoy, and as you can tell, I'm recording this on Ash Wednesday. Now, Ash Wednesday, for some people in the sort of secular American culture, is something as simple as that day when Catholics do that weird thing with the ashes. But for some people in the same sort of secular American culture, it's something a bit stranger. And I've noticed this from places like Universal Studios, where their Mardi Gras celebrations begin yesterday, on Fat Tuesday, and they continue for weeks or months through Lent and sometimes even through Easter. Anyone who's familiar with Lent, with Mardi Gras, with any Catholic liturgical celebrations will notice what's particularly strange about this. In particular, it is an inversion. It's backwards. It is a celebration in a time of solemnity, in a time of penance, in a time of sacrifice. And it's not the only case where our sort of American secular culture does this sort of thing. We see this in basically every liturgical season. We see this being the case. The other main notable one is Christmas. We hear complaints all the time about Christmas comes too early. People are already celebrating Christmas by Thanksgiving, etc. All of this, right? Or even worse, right after Halloween. The sort of reasonable amount to celebrate Christmas, at least in the kind of secular culture, is December, right? Roughly speaking, around sometime in December. It's okay to start celebrating Christmas. Of course, to anyone familiar with Catholic liturgy, they'll notice what season that is, which is Advent, which is quite precisely the opposite of what our ordinary celebrations of Christmas ought to be. So what happens is we treat Advent like it's Christmas, and what that leads to is treating Christmas like nothing. And maybe treating Christmas like depression. You get seasonal depression, all of that sort of thing. So we have this, again, inversion. We have Advent being treated, which is supposed to be a season of penance, of solemn preparation for the birth of the Messiah. We have it being treated as a celebration. And then we have Christmas, the actual Christmas season, which is treated as a time to be sad about taking decorations down, instead of a time of celebration. We see the same thing now. We see the same thing in lots of other cases. Halloween is a simpler one, right? But a little bit less liturgical, but we treat the month of October as our celebration of the macabre and our remaining Inversion festival in our culture, if you want to take that look at it. But really, the month of the liturgical month of celebrating the dead is November, of not just celebrating but praying for the dead is November. It comes after Halloween. But I think we see in this example, the Mardi Gras example, that it's not just our American tendency to keep going earlier and earlier and earlier with holidays, because if that were the case, then, well, Mardi Gras wouldn't be a problem. It would be celebrated during, well, Mardi Gras. The weeks of ordinary time between Christmas and Lent, which really, if you look at somewhere like New Orleans, or if you look at Carnival, that's really, it can extend that long. But not here, not for us. And by us, of course, I mean the sort of secular culture, especially in the U.S. For us, we start at Mardi Gras, and we have this raucous festival of inversion throughout the season that's supposed to be the most solemn and the most preparatory, in this case, for Easter, for the passion and resurrection of Christ. So what gives? Well, I think I follow Jonathan Pageau on a lot of this, on a lot of interpretations of this tendency, because he observes that these sorts of festivals, especially Mardi Gras, is, by its nature, in its proper liturgical place, is an inversion festival. It's where we take the ordinary and we take the proper, the rightly ordered, and we turn things on their head. We have the fool being crowned. We have the celebrations of the absurd and the strange. We have the outlandish and raucous festival of celebrating the strange, celebrating the absurd, celebrating the abnormal, and treating it as normal. The problem becomes when the world is inverted. And we have the clown world, as it's called, right? If you're not familiar with the term, I can point you in a few right directions, but you probably are. You've probably heard our current culture referred to as the clown world, as everything being upside down, everything being strange, nothing making sense in the typical traditional way anymore. And when the whole world is inverted, when ordinary culture is inverted, you can't have an inversion festival. Think about one of the best examples of this is the Mardi Gras parade in New Orleans. They had a float at the head of the parade with a giant bust of Epstein being strangled by Hillary Clinton. This is supposed to be subversive. This is undermining the common narrative. This is poking fun at the powerful. This is going after, and this is a twist on how things normally are, or normally supposed to be. The problem is that Epstein didn't kill himself has been a meme since Epstein didn't kill himself. This isn't some provocative or inverted celebration of the strange. This is just every day. And so our inversion festivals, our Mardi Gras, our carnivals, our Halloweens, all of these are a kind of, or they're supposed to be at least, a kind of a release, a way and a time for the strange to be taken as normal, right? So that we can embrace the strange, embrace the margin, right? As the symbologists or so want to say. The problem is when the margin becomes the center, when the strange becomes normal, then what do? Well, we can't really do the ordinary kind of inversion festival. We have to move it. We have to shift it. We have to do things differently. Now, we can still do our Mardi Gras. But to make it strange, we have to be strange about it. We have to move it. We have to shift it. In this case, we have to shift our festivals into our fasts, and our fasts into our festivals. We have to put Mardi Gras in Lent. Because Lent is supposed to be the time when the imminent is the most imminent. The world is the most solemn, the most somber, and the most orderly. Because it's in preparation for the great turn, Easter, when things begin going well. We have to prepare for that through Lent. And, of course, Mardi Gras is a preparation for the preparation, right? It's letting off our strangeness, letting out our weirdness, and letting the inversion take place so that things can flip back to being rightly ordered. The problem is when everything is upside down, you can't turn it upside down without turning it right side up. And we don't want it right side up. We want things to be strange. So what gives? What do we do about this? And what does this mean? Well, it tells us something about our culture, I think, at least, that it tells us that our entire culture being this kind of clown world, this inversion festival of everyday life, we need to look elsewhere for release. And what I mean by that is elsewhere for this inversion that we see in festivals like Mardi Gras. Right? It can't simply be that because the whole world is mad, well, we just re-invert. We have this double inversion, and Mardi Gras becomes stagnant, and it becomes orderly, right? Because that doesn't make sense either. The only way out of this is to live right side up in the upside down world. That people who recognize this as a problem will start looking bizarre, will start looking like clowns in the world that's already clownish. I mean, it's not much of a solution, right? And it's not a cultural solution. I honestly don't know if there is a cultural solution to this, and even if there is, I'm a philosopher. This is well outside my expertise, so I couldn't really tell you. But I know how we can live, and we can live liturgically, and we can live along the orderly liturgy, and not the bizarre inverted liturgy of taking feasts to be fasts and fasts to be feasts, and treating Christmas like Advent and Advent like Christmas, and Lent like Mardi Gras, and Easter like the day of Easter. Another example of this: if you wish someone a happy Easter before Easter, they'll think it's perfectly normal, and they'll wish you a happy Easter right back. But if you wish them a happy Easter after the first Sunday of Easter, during the Easter season, people are going to think you're insane. At least the ordinary secular culture will think you're insane. Because everyone knows that's not a holiday season. That's just ordinary time, even though it's quite the contrary. Well, that's all I have on this topic, so hopefully I've at least given us something to think about, even if I haven't really given us much in terms of solutions. It's at least something, and hopefully that's enough. Feel free to like and comment on this video if this is the kind of thing that you'd like to see me do more, just kind of moving outside my expertise on philosophy lectures. I'm certainly still going to be doing lectures on philosophy, don't worry, but I kind of like applying what knowledge I have to cultural issues like this. So hopefully you find this video interesting and useful, and this will at least get us thinking about these issues. So with that, I will see you next time. Bye.